Hi, I'm Baelee with Donna Hair, and I'm going to be your educator for the Extend event. Today, we are going to do a curly eye link installation. We're going to start by going over proper consultation, installation techniques, cutting and blending, and aftercare. But first, let me tell you a little bit about myself and how I got started with hair extensions. I graduated from hair school 12 years ago, and I first got certified with another company right out of school. I used that product for about 2 years. I really wanted to get into hair extensions because nobody in my area offered them. So I worked with them for about 2 years, but I wasn't really happy with the quality of the product that I was using. So I started searching for another brand. I stumbled upon Donna, started using their product, and really loved the quality. I got certified online, and the rest is history. For me, I had no idea how offering hair extensions would completely change my business. I first started out by just offering them to a few clients, and simply by word of mouth, more and more people were wanting to get hair extensions. It was nice because for Donna, we offer a variety of professional methods. So that's how I was able to become specialized in hair extensions. And because hair extensions are a luxury service, you're able to charge more for it. So it's more profit in your pocket. I'm excited to walk you through a curly eye link installation, but first we need to go over proper consultation. So let's bring over our client. A proper consultation is so important. Remember, there's 3 things that we need to determine. We need to figure out about their lifestyle, about their budget, and how committed they are to hair extensions. So how often do they want to be in the salon? There's a few questions that you can ask that will help you determine what method is going to be best for them. So first, I like to ask if there's a specific method that they're interested in. Maybe they've seen something on Instagram, or maybe their friend has worn a certain method that they really loved. If they have worn hair extensions, I like to ask them what they liked about them and what they disliked about them. Cues like that are going to help you determine maybe a different method just might be better. I also like to ask them questions about their lifestyle. What do they do for a job? Do they live a very active lifestyle? Do they wear their hair back most of the days? Those questions will help you determine whether a single strand method or a wefted method is going to be best. And then I like to ask them if they have a budget and how committed they are to coming into the salon. If someone doesn't want to come into the salon every 6 weeks, then I'm going to choose a different method that has longer maintenance between those appointments. We've already determined that eye links are going to be the best for Corinne. So let's get into color matching. Grab your coloring, and when you're color matching, you want to take the color swatch and hold it up to the ends. If you're doing multiple colors, I like to fan them out just to see how that's going to blend. Something that's really important is figuring out in your head a map of how you're going to install your color if you're doing multiple colors. So I'm going to turn Corinne around and I'll show you. We've determined that color 2, 6/10, and 27A are going to be the best match for her. And this is why. So if I turn her around, you can see she has this nice balayage of lighter color, but it doesn't go all the way through to the underneath. So I need to add something to blend that. So that's where color 2 comes into place. I'm going to use color 2 in the very nape of her neck, and then as I move up the head, I'm going to start to incorporate those lighter colors. 6/10 matches really good to the top of her hair, but I also want to add in a few lighter pieces of my 27A. So again, you're always wanting to match the ends. So you want to make sure your perimeter and the top match the client's natural hair. If you're going to add any fun pops of color or brighter pieces, you want to keep that all within the interior. So like I said in the beginning, we're going to do a curly eye link installation on Corinne. But at Donna Hair, we offer 3 different textures. We offer a straight, a wavy, and a curly. Now on Corinne, you can see she has a nice curl. The curly texture is actually what's going to match her best. But if her curl pattern was a little bit looser, then I would go to the wavy. Now, something that's important is if somebody has natural curl or wave, but they typically wear their hair straight more often, you're going to want to go with a straight extension. I always tell my clients that it's easier to curl straight extensions than it is to straighten curly extensions. Something with our textured extensions is you don't want to apply heat to straighten them because that's going to relax the curl prematurely. So let's get started on our installation. Okay, so now we're ready to install our curly eye links. What you're going to need for this is your quick pick, your Lux tool, and your loop tool. You also need your beads. You'll notice I've parted out a section in the nape of her hair. When you're doing your first row, you want to make sure that you drop out enough of a perimeter so that when she pulls her hair up, you're not going to see the extensions. So for finer hair, you're going to need to drop out a little bit more. For thicker hair, you can go a little bit closer to the nape. Now on Corinne, I've done about 1.5 inches of a perimeter. From here, we're ready to start our installation. I'm gonna go in about 1 inch from her hairline for the same reason as if she's going to pull her hair back, I don't want those bonds to be exposed. So how I part my subsection is I'm going to use my quick pick. I part down and then over, creating a longer, more rectangular section. I'm going to loop my hair through the loop tool, and then I slide the bead up the hair strand as I pull the loop tool down. I like to keep my loop tool on my thumb instead of picking it up and setting it back down. This is important because it's going to increase your speed. Then I take the bead, I hold it up nice and close to the scalp, place the eye link in it, I pull the bead down slightly so it's at an off base placement. What that means is that it's going to be directly off the base of that subsection. So it's going to lay at a 0-degree elevation. So there's enough room in there for me to slide my Lux tool in. I'm going to clamp it in the middle and then clamp it again on the corners. So you see how that eye link lays nice and flat. If I was to do it too close, you would get kind of that waterfall where the hair's going to bump off the scalp. One, that's going to be really uncomfortable for the client, but it also could lead to potential breakage. Now, most of the time, the idea for hair extensions is to help grow out the hair, so we want to make sure we're focusing on the integrity of the hair. Then I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to take my quick pick, I part down and over, connecting to the previous section, not leaving out any hair in between. Slide the bead up the hair strand, and place the eye link into the bead. Now you'll notice the bead that I'm using is a black grooved bead. You want to make sure that you're color matching your bead to the natural color of the client's root of their hair. So even though I'm going to be installing lighter extensions as we move up the head, I'm still going to use that black bead because it's going to be less noticeable and it's going to blend a lot better. As to where if I was to use a lighter colored bead on her hair, it's going to stick out. Our grooved beads are an aluminum bead. They have little grooves on the inside, so when you clamp the bead shut, it actually interlocks together for a secure hold. And like I said in the consultation and color matching portion, I'm going to be using 3 different colors on Corinne. I'm using colors 2, 27A, and 610. In the very bottom, I'm doing the solid color 2. Because her hair is dark down here, that's why I'm going to apply those darker extensions so that it blends. As I work up the head, then I'll start incorporating those lighter pieces. So I'm just going to continue this row here, and I'm going to stop about 1 inch in from the other side as well. Okay, so I'm starting on my second row here. I went in, same rules are going to apply. You want to make sure that you're leaving out a perimeter so that when they pull their hair back, you're not going to see any sort of bond on the extensions. So I went in just a little bit further than 1 inch here and started my first extension, completing a straight line. I'm going to continue to apply just like I did before, taking that quick pick. I part down and over, connecting to my previous subsection. If there's any little hairs out of the way, you want to use your quick pick to get them out before you clamp that bead down. I take the loop tool, thread her hair through it, slide the bead up as I pull the loop tool down. Use my index finger to hold that bead in place. So if there's any little hairs, crosshairs, you want to make sure that they get out of that subsection before you clamp the tool. I slide the eye link in the bead. I slide my bead down so it's off base, and then I clamp it shut. Now you'll notice with my eye length, there's only a little bit of the top of that bond being exposed. If I was to shove the eye link in further and then clamp it, what would happen is when she would pull her hair up, the top of that bond would poke her in the head, and that would cause discomfort. You always want to make sure that when you're installing extensions, they're going to stay comfortable for the client the entire time. So I'm going to continue these beads here all the way across and leaving out about an inch on the other side. I'm going to use color 2. And then my next row is when I'm going to start to incorporate those other colors. Okay, so now I'm starting my third row and I'm starting to incorporate the lighter colors. How I'm going to place these is I'm going to do a 2-to-1 ratio. So I'm going to do 2 of my 6/10, which is my little bit darker extension, to 127A, which is more of that solid lighter color. The 6/10 is a highlight lowlight combo, so it has some of that brown mixed in with the caramel. So I'm placing 2 of the darker to 1 of the solid lighter color for a nice blend. Again, like I said before, when picking that bead choice, even though I'm installing lighter extensions, I'm going to still continue to use my black bead because that's what's going to match her natural hair the best. And I'm just going to continue this row all the way across the same way. So after watching this video, if you are not using Donna Bella hair and you are deciding that maybe it's something you want to get involved with, Donna Bella Hair is an e-commerce brand. So that means we're sold directly online, directly to you, the consumer. So getting a hold of our product is really easy. And I cannot stress enough about the quality of this hair. Like I said in the intro, I've worked with other brands and nothing compares to the quality of Donna Bella hair. It's all 100% Remy human hair, meaning the cuticle is all intact and all laying the same direction. So it's not going to have any tangling or matting, and it's going to stay nice the entire time that the person is wearing the extensions. If you're wanting to offer hair extensions, maybe you're thinking about offering eye links, but we also have 4 other methods, including our flat tip, our tape-ins, our Carolink, our hybrid wefts, and then we also have temporary methods like a clip-in and a solo. But if you're wanting to offer any particular method, we do offer online certification directly online. So you can go to our website and click on the education and sign up for those classes. It's going to go completely in depth into each method, how to install, cutting and blending, and maintenance and aftercare. So now I finished the back of the head. I did 5 rows up the back. Now it's time to connect the sides. So when you're doing the sides, you want to make sure you're leaving out about that inch perimeter again, so when she's going to pull her hair back, you won't see any of those bonds. I'm going to continue placing them by matching the ends of her hair. So if you look at it, she's got her highlights and her lowlights throughout. So I'm going to just start by alternating my light color and my dark color through this very first row and continue that same pattern up to the sides. I'll check in with you when I'm all done with the installation to go over cutting and blending. I'm all finished with Corinne's installation. So to recap exactly what I did 5 rows up the back and 3 on each side with that 3-color blend. All are complete full rows, except for in the very back. When I was done, I noticed she had some pretty strong dominant blonde pieces. So in order to match that, I did a few of our 27A more spread out to help blend with her natural color. So now it's time for cutting and blending. Something with cutting textured hair is you want to make sure that you're using a shear when cutting the curly extensions. If you use a razor, you could possibly take the curl out on the ends and make them more frizzy. As we begin cutting and blending, I'm going to have Corinne stand up and turn around. I'm going to bring all the hair towards the back. And what I'm going to do is we're going to keep it as long as possible, but I'm just going to clean up the ends. So some of them are just a little bit finer down here. I just want to give her a nice, even, clean line. When cutting the curly extensions, I like to use a leave-in conditioner just on the ends before I cut. So I'm just going to simply point cut the ends. Now, when you're doing this, you don't need to comb out the curl. In fact, you're not going to want to. So you're just going to want to loosely hold the perimeter in your hand. And then I just make soft point cuts to create that even line. Now, because she's wearing these curly extensions, remember she's never going to straighten them. So if it's not completely perfect, you don't have to worry about it. You just want to make sure that, like I said, you're holding it nice and loose, and then just point cut the bottom. So take a step back and look. If you see any stray hairs, you just want to go in and trim those off. Cleaning up that line. Then I'm going to have her take a seat. And I'm going to blend the front of her hair into the ends of the extensions. So just like with the perimeter, I like to use a leave-in spray when working with the curly extensions and spray them before I cut. So I'm going to part from her ear forward and push all that hair behind. I'm only going to be working with this section of hair. So you see where her hair is. I'm going to hold it down and I'm going to go right behind it and slide cut down, blending that in. Remember, when you're working with curly hair, you don't want to be combing the curl out. And just blend it right down in. So you can see it starts to blend. Here's her natural hair, and then I've just layered it down into the bottom. I'm going to go to the other side and do the same thing. So I'm taking from her ear forward, parting the rest of the hair back, and only working with this section of hair. I find her natural hair, I go right behind it, and I slide cut. I'm never completely closing my shears when I'm doing this. I'm working with the interior section here, but never completely closing it, because that will give you a big piece that you're removing. So we just want to softly open and close our shears. Okay, so you can see how the front is layered, now connecting into the bottom. So now the next thing I'm gonna do is just layer throughout the rest of her hair. All the same rules are going to apply. When I hold the hair, I'm never pulling it super tight. I'm keeping it nice and loose. I'm using my comb to make my sections, but I'm not actually combing through the hair, because everybody that has curly hair knows if you comb it out, it's just gonna make it frizzy. So I'm gonna take my section, and I'm just gonna work with about 1 inch subsections away from the head. Find her hair, and I'm gonna use that same cutting technique, connecting all the way into the ends. So I'm just gonna continue doing this around the head. The last thing I'm gonna do is just polish and detail. And what I mean by this is look at the hair, step back and examine where else do I need to maybe remove weight or texturize. Now with Corinne, what I'm gonna do is like I can look and see that maybe like right through here, I might wanna make a little bit more of a layer. So you just simply hold the hair up loosely, take your shear and continue that same cutting just on an individual strand basis. Working with curly hair is just a little bit different than straight, because when I'm cutting those single strands, you see how I did that? It made that curl bounce up and just kind of added to the haircut and added to the look. I'm just gonna continue doing this throughout the hair wherever I think it needs it. And then we're gonna finish with a nice style. We're all done with Corinne's installation and cutting and blending. I'd like to go over some of our aftercare with you. So on curly extensions, it's important to use a sulfate-free shampoo and conditioner, a leave-in spray, and any other curly product stylers. If you're not going to wash your hair every day, it's important to still get it wet and use a leave-in spray to reactivate the curls. You'll want to use our Donna silk pillowcase to prevent any frizzing and friction of the curls. And as far as heating tools go, you don't ever want to flat iron the curly extensions because that will cause the curls to prematurely fall. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this curly eye-link installation. If you're at all interested in getting certified in any one of our 5 professional methods, we do offer online certification at www.donnabellahair.com. I'm Baelee Reiter. We'll see you next time.